As we gather tonight to mark the 110th anniversary of the Armenian Genocide, yet another nation is debating whether to criminalize the denial of the first genocide of the 20th century. Some 14,000 kilometers away from the shores of Sydney, in the heart of Yerevan, the National Assembly of the Republic of Armenia is confronting a somewhat odd but ever-growing necessary task. Less than 48 hours ago, a bill had been proposed to formally extinguish the insidious force of genocide denial within our own borders. One might believe a century later that such measures would be redundant, especially in Armenia. But denial has not faded, it has evolved. Denial has not retreated, but embedded itself into the forces in our own homeland, in a hope to silence Armenia at a time when we have lost Artsakh and cannot stand on our feet at the negotiating table. Here in Australia, we draw a line. We do not offer a platform to anyone on our stages, community leaders or elected officials who refuse to acknowledge the Armenian genocide for what it is. And likewise, no individual in Armenia, no matter their title, origin, or influence, should ever be granted the privilege of standing on Armenian soil and denying the Armenian genocide. Denial is not an option, it is an act of violence, a second attempt at erasure, and we, as descendants of survivors of the Armenian genocide, will meet it with unwavering resistance. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we gather and pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. Friends, whilst the Armenian Australian community has rightfully focused its advocacy on the modern manifestation of genocide against our compatriots in Artsakh, our commitment to truth-telling remains steadfast across Australia. In 2024, we reached a milestone. The Armenian National Committee of Australia proudly announced that for the first time, New South Wales's history curriculum will teach the Armenian genocide through the lens of Australia's humanitarian relief efforts, a poignant bridge between our shared pasts. Set to be established in 2027, this update ensures that Australians will not learn only of the crime of genocide, but also of the courage of everyday Australians. Tonight, I am honoured to announce another chapter in this journey of education. In partnership with the Australian Institute of Holocaust and Genocide Studies, as well as the Greek and Assyrian public affairs bodies, we will launch the inaugural Reverend James Cresswell essay competition, named after a man whose compassion reached across oceans to our ancestors. This annual competition will invite Year 9 and 10 students to reflect on justice, memory, and history. With this generous support from the Armenian Missionary Association of Australia, $1,500 in prizes will be awarded to the voices that carry truth into the future. In Victoria, we are rewriting the narrative. We are dismantling over a decade of anti-Armenian rhetoric rooted in extreme ethnic branch stacking led by foreign agents and interests. We have now established the Parliamentary Friends of Armenia in Victoria. And when whispers emerged of a backroom deal to create an Azerbaijani friendship group, mere months after the ethnic cleansing of Artsakh's 120,000 Armenians, our community rose as one. Within 48 hours, under pressure from Truth and Justice, the Liberal Party of Victoria retreated. It was not victory for politics, but victory for the people. This momentum is no accident. It is a result of relentless advocacy by Victoria's Armenian Australian community. And earlier this month, our efforts culminated in a historic moment. For the first time in 18 years, 3 Victorian state parliamentarians stood in their respective chambers and with unwavering conviction spoke the word our ancestors died for: genocide. They cast aside fear, cast aside silence, and dared to speak truth where it had long been denied. And the ripple continues to spread. Just last week in Australia, the 6th local municipality, Parramatta City Council, unanimously adopted to recognise the Armenian Genocide. It was led by Liberal councillor Tanya Raful, herself a descendant of Armenian Genocide survivors, honouring the past and lighting the path for future generations. As we head into a federal election, we are pleased to offer our community another positive choice, a choice that recognises the pain and history of their ancestors. In addition to the Australian Greens having a party policy, friends, we are pleased to announce that the grassroots political party Family First have announced a party policy which accurately characterises the Armenian Genocide and calls for federal recognition. We express our gratitude to Family First and Mr. Lyle Shelton, who joins us here tonight as the National Director of Family First and lead candidate in the Senate in New South Wales. His party does join several others, and we look forward to working with Family First in the future. Friends, after all of this, what is perhaps most disappointing is that despite everything, despite the undeniable momentum, despite recognition in 3 states, despite the overwhelming public consensus, despite the moral clarity of everyday Australians who know what is right, our national leaders, those wanting to govern this nation, once again choose silence over truth. Once again, they failed to call this crime by its name. What is clear is that our nation's leaders cannot summon the courage to speak one word: genocide. No amount of diplomacy, no alliance, no strategic interest can justify their refusal to confront historical truth, especially when it's soaked in the blood of 1.5 million Armenian souls. Their silence is not neutral. It's betrayal to the 60,000 Armenian Australians who call Australia home. And on this solemn anniversary, that silence echoed louder than any euphemism they could incorporate in their address. To all seeking election in the 2025 Australian Federal Parliament, know that if you're wanting to move the Armenian vote, or the Armenian volunteer to hand out your papers, or to woo Armenians in any way, shape, or form, you cannot bargain historical truth for token gestures. You cannot buy favour with fortune. We are a people who have suffered 110 years ago. We are a people who have suffered in Artsakh this decade. We have prisoners rotting in jail run by a dictator. We need to be recognised, warts and all, genocide and heartache, to celebrate our cultural diversity here in Australia. The progress we have achieved as a community is progress, not justice. Justice is full, accurate recognition of past crimes and clear moral condemnation of present atrocities against our compatriots in Artsakh. We will not tolerate silence. We will not accept cowardice cloaked in diplomacy, and we will never condone our elected officials bowing to the foreign agents of Turkey and Azerbaijan. To our leaders, our people have been watching. Our memory is long, and our resolve will follow us to the ballot boxes. In Bennelong, in Bradfield, in Parramatta, in Mackellar, in Warringah, in Chisholm, in Aston, in Fowler, and in McMahon. In whatever seat there is an Armenian Australian. Our leaders are making the path ahead steep. Our leaders are making the journey long. But with our community committed to standing firm, lifting one another, we are not merely marching to the death like our ancestors. We are marching on the path of righteousness, no matter the challenges. We remember and we demand. Thank you.